Hello, everybody. I've been having technical difficulties. How strange is that? So, I'm using my camera on my phone and going to use the laptop, which was having troubles to get started. So, I'm assuming we're live and this is working. We shall see in a minute, but I'm just going to keep talking here. So it's been a busy day, just busy. And the thing there is that I need to be less busy, like need buffer time. And I think that that's probably good for me to say and good for me to share, that we can wear ourselves out with not enough buffer. And the metaphor also on the computer is I couldn't get my computer to start. Well, partly it was because I had too many programs open. So the principle there is shut down programs. There is a saintly person I like named Saint Paisius. He's a relatively new person that helps people. When I say new, I think he passed away in the 90s. But he said the reason we are stressed is because we do more than one thing at a time. We should only do two things at a time. You do this, then you do this. And I thought, there is truth to that for sure. Let's see if I am up and running. Oh, I'm live, so that's good. I'm gonna do this and make sure that there. Okay, so I can now see any kind of comments happening. So doing less, actually it's doing not multitasking things, I think, is a good idea. I today in my personal life had to say to a family member, not immediate family member, but I was getting some challenging emails and stuff like that. It's like, I just need a break. I just need a break temporarily because I'm dealing with other stuff. We fly out to Arizona Thursday to be able to pick up my wife's parents and get them safely back to Washington State. So I need time to ponder that. And in the midst of that, I was maybe overthinking things, but not too much. I'd like to have somewhat of a safety plan to help them get safely home, some masks, some disinfectant wipes, goggles, all that stuff. And I think realizing there are things we can control and things we can't control. We do the things we can do, and we let go of the things that are beyond our control. And the coronavirus certainly has put us all in a position of feeling powerless in a strange way. Like we can do the best we know to do, but we can't make guarantees, and I'm going to make this perfectly safe. Yeah, life's not perfectly safe. It's just how life works. So, I wonder if we have any questions. Yep, so the audio and the video are good. Thanks, Joe. I was talking with someone about how to deal with issues with resentments, anger, and fear. They look different. Resentment and anger really look similar. Fear, like, how does that relate? But what they all have in common is that I have an inflated sense of self, or I want something to happen. And since I'm using I can't get to the screen to be able to draw something, so I apologize, but I do think I have a video out on this, and I'll try to put up a video on this. But when Erik is inflated, I have all these good ideas. I kind of want what I want to have happen. It's kind of like I have a metaphorical clipboard and I have a script for the universe. Even God, I want him to do what I want him to do. I want the government to be the way I have designed it. I want the people to do what I want them to do. In fact, I'll use this. It's like if this was my magic wand, I want the universe to be the way I want it to be. Come, listen to me. I know what's good for everybody, including myself. And this kind of comes from the AA book. It says that we had this script and we really wanted everything, and how we manipulate the world would be by doing things that look kind, considerate, modest, self-sacrificing, even dishonest, where I won't tell people what's really bothering me. But I could also be mean, egotistical, selfish, and dishonest. So we don't realize that we're trying to control things by our actions. And we'll talk about what the opposite state is like. It says in the book, we start to feel indignant, self-pitying, because the world doesn't revolve around me. And I may not even realize I'm trying to make it do that. I just have really good ideas and I wish things would go the way I want to. And then I try to grasp at making things, the word is handle things the way I want them to be. And so self manifests itself in many ways. And the AA book says this, that our problems are really rooted in this self-inflation. And anger, and I think I'm going to do this correctly so that it matches to your screen, but resentment is feeling something over and over and over again. Resent means to re-feel. So sentimental, sentir means to feel, resent means to re-feel. So we re-feel this over and over, and that guy didn't give me what I wanted, or something happened 5 years ago, I can't let that go. It's very sticky, just not being able to let anything go. There is neurological aspects to this. And then anger, we know what that is, but it's usually rooted in I'm not getting something I want. I mean, it really does boil down to that. Even if I want justice for some other person, I still want justice, so give me justice. I may use anger to manipulate people to get them to do what I want them to do. And then fear. So we have resentment, anger, and fear. And it really stems from this self-centeredness. And resentment is, I didn't get what I wanted in the past, is selfish. Anger is, I'm not getting what I want now. Now, how does fear tie in? Fear is, I'm afraid I'm not going to get what I want. Like, I don't want cancer. I don't want the government to do this. I don't want my kids to have this. I don't want to have to go to the dentist. I'm afraid that I won't be able to handle it. Handle. It's not by accident that the word manus in Latin means hand. So manage something means to handle something. And so we use these words interchangeable. When I'm handling something, that's not a good state for me. It really isn't, because I have my grubby little paws on it. So where is God in all this? Well, if I'm inflated, God shoved out the door. And I'm kind of all or nothing with this, but there is this aspect that when I'm so inflated and I'm dehydrated, hold on just a minute. Oh boy, sorry about that. It shows you the day. Water is good. So, when I am inflated, God becomes smaller. That for God's power to be manifested in myself, I must die to myself. I must become small, humble. God gives grace to the humble, but he's opposed to the proud. This is said about 3 times throughout the scripture, and it's a really, really, really important principle. I guess I can share this. You know, the Son of God, Jesus, came in humility, and his power was manifested in that. Arrogance, white-knuckling it, defensiveness, I want what I want, I have a plan for the universe, is not humble. And so I lose power, I lose strength. This is why addicts struggle so, because they have such an inflated sense of self. This is why addicts, whatever the addiction is, sex addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction, spending addiction, drug, alcohol, work, gambling, fixing others, is I have a plan for the universe. When we are powerless, when our hands have opened up, we have this state of, I'm dead, it's no longer I who lives, but Christ lives in me, and I just don't have any more good ideas. I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know what to do. That's actually a good state. If we act as though I know exactly what to do, and in fact, they should have done it, and if people would just listen to my own ideas and I'm holding on to things in the past, it's not going to work. If I'm holding on to anger, it's not going to work. If I'm holding, because I'm mad because I'm not getting what I want now. If I hold on to fears, like I just can't bear what's going to happen tomorrow. I just can't bear. I'm afraid of what's going to happen next month, and whether it's money, whether it's health, whether it's family members, you name it. This holding on takes a lot of pressure. It takes a lot of time. It's not energy, and it's all self-oriented energy. It's like a battery pack that I'm just trying to do the best I know to do. At our best moments, we're actually we're simple, we're humble, we're small. If we do this, if we stay open-handed, surrendered, the addiction dies. Not only the addiction dies, but the resentment dies. If I don't want anything, really, I just want to do God's will and the power to carry it out, that's step 11, then he'll just take care of me. I become childlike in that regard. I just have to keep my hands open. I just have to say, well, I don't have to do anything. But if I keep my hands open and trust in him, trust that it'll work out, then we'll take it from there. Right now, like I'm having a kind of a headache, stuffy nose like thing, and I haven't had hardly any of that. I'm scheduled to fly out Thursday and come back Friday. The thought crossed my mind like, oh no, I will maybe not be flying on a plane, and plane tickets, all that. And it's like, stop. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. You can't control this. If I'm sick, I won't be going to help people, and we'll see what God does. If I'm well, then I will. By the way, I think this is from me deciding not to use the CPAP machine last night. I just thought, I'm going to try it without it. So I think the stuffy nose and that kind of headache is from not actually having the nice, warm, purified air and all that stuff. So we shall see. We shall see. We shall let go. We shall let go of the things in the past, things that we cannot control. We shall let go of the present, just to be here in the moment with you, to not want anything, to not need anything, just to be here. And that would be good enough. The future, we can stiff arm the future and say, like, I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to think about that. I want to be here in the moment. And it takes practice to do this. If you practice this, you will feel like you're really living. You'll feel like you're really having enjoyment a lot. You'll have peace, perhaps. Now, being in the moment can mean also when you're having a panic attack, or you feel really sick to your stomach, or some not good things. And yes, a little bit of moving into the future isn't a bad idea. So, like, I know I'll feel better later. Or bringing up some past memories where you did feel better. But for the most part, I think being in the present's not a bad idea. It's where we can connect with God. We can refuel, if you will. We can self-assess to see, how am I doing? Am I getting inflated? Am I just getting bigger of what I want? Or am I going to try to let go and let God? There's that simple, popular phrase that people, bumper stickers, but it's really true. It's really, really true to trust. To trust means to let go, I would imagine. To let go of your control and trust the person, the organization, God, or even an object. If I sit in a chair, I trust that it will support me. How do I do that? I have to let go of control. Otherwise, I am just bending over and kind of squatting over a chair, but I have to let go of the muscles, trust that it'll take good care of me. Same thing with a car. I guess I trust the car to be able to accelerate when I need to get into the road, and I don't doubt that it'll get me there. In theory, could it fail and I end up getting hit by a car? That's true. But because it so has helped me, then I trust it. So trusting our own abilities to fix ourselves, I think, would be a good topic. Why do we trust ourselves? Probably because for a lot of things it works. There are millions of ways that I do something like pick up glasses. Well, I intended to pick up glasses. My arms worked and I was picking up the glasses. So we have hundreds and hundreds of things we do all the time. And it gives us the illusion of control. Now, if something went haywire in my brain or body and I couldn't pick them up, I'd be shocked and frightened, etc. So let's move it to a different level. If I interact with people and try to help them feel comfortable or ask for things and I get those things, then it just is self-reinforcing this idea that I can kind of manipulate the world and get what I want. Say like I worry incessantly that people are not going to be safe after they get out of they're late. Why aren't they here? It's Target. They said they'd be back, or they're back from a road trip. Part of it is I worry and then nothing bad happens, so therefore worry works. Well, it's just a false connection. Just absolutely a false connection. That's why it's self-rewarding. It reinforces itself. I heard someone say, if we just tap on the steering wheel every time I drive, And I have to tap on it, say like 10 times. 99.9% of the time, I get to my destination safely. Therefore, tapping works. I should start, get that research article going and explain to the world that if you tap on your steering wheel, you will be guaranteed a 99% safety rate. The problem is there's no connection between that. It's just a false connection. So there's a lot of things in life like that. And so worry is one of them. And so that's why we do it. But is it extra time to do all that? And I'm getting carpal tunnel. Sure it is. But I feel compelled to do it, that I've got to do that. Otherwise something bad will happen. So worry is just that. And that looked like OCD, and there's a form of OCD in that. But same thing with worry, that we think by thinking about the future, it's going to make our future turn out better. Well, yes and no. No, if I decide to think a little bit about the future, say like this trip with my in-laws, and think enough to have tickets, to think enough to bring masks and wipes and things we need, the trip will go better. If I talk to them a little bit, or my wife talks to them, and we do just a little bit of prep communication, it will probably go better. The problem is an inordinate amount of this. If I go way too much over control, the problem is it still may go well. I may go, well, see, all that over control, over packing works. It's because we're tapping. So if you want to recover, let go more and more, more and more, more and more, more and more, more and more and more and more. And when you realize I can do a lot less and get the same results by not overpacking, not overthinking, and just streamlining it to what's important to pack, or what's important to think about, and what's not. And I think prayer is something we do where we are turning things over. We turn over our cares. It says we have to cast our cares upon him, for he cares for us. Why is the word cast used? I looked it up years ago. It means to hurl down violently. So the same as casting out a demon. And I think sometimes our cares stick to us, and we really need to just take them off and throw them out, and to let go with vengeance. Not vengeance, that's not the best word, with a strong aggressiveness, assertiveness, like enough. No, I'm not thinking about this anymore. I'll be fine. There are other ways that God can speak to me rather than terroristic fears, Boy, I'm on the fear thing today. Same thing with anger. It's self-reinforcing. We think that by anger, we're going to get what we want, and it kind of does work sometimes. But I can tell you this, if we got thrown in jail, if everybody left, they didn't want to have anything to do with this anymore, then anger doesn't work, and we would just not do it that much. So that's the problem, is anger kind of does work to get attention. People say they feel better after getting angry. There could be some truth to that, but it may not always be good for us. So I'm debating here to know how long to go tonight. There was this topic. Debating whether to change the subject to a different topic. think I'll segue into another topic here. I think, Tuesday night comfort is supposed to be, how do we comfort ourselves? And so the first part, I shared this idea of letting go, letting God, letting go of anger, letting go of anxiety, letting go of resentments. And you just do it. You can read books and stuff, you can try to analyze it, but I would just do it. Don't try to overanalyze it. Just start to practice letting go. You can use kind of a hand metaphor. I've been doing this, thinking about hands for a while, because one time I was in prayer meditation, I realized a fist is hand holding on to something. It's like a closed fist. Opening up is letting go. Holding on to tension is this. Holding on to greed. Holding on to my ideas. Holding on to my life. Holding on to my career. Holding on to my children that are not children anymore. Holding on to my money, holding on, I think it's my money, I think it's my children. You see where I'm going with this? We're really not much in our best state a lot of times with holding on. By the way, holding on to my sanity, holding on to my mind and trying to hold on, it's just tiring. Yeah. We use a phrase like get a grip, but I do think that we're better off letting go and trusting God, trusting that it's going to work out. People say, well, what if I lose my mind? You know what? If you plunge yourself into, and I want to be sensitive because there are people really struggling out there, so I'm not saying, but I think that a lot of our problems are from holding on too tightly. Holding on to all this bad stuff that doesn't really ever serve us. It's we just think that it serves us well, and that self-serving behaviors work, but they really don't. Think about it this way: freely you have received, freely give. It's like, that's a Bible verse. So you're letting go of what you had just received. You think of these saints where they were given a large amount of money to give to someone else. It flew through their hands so fast that they never really felt like they owned things. People would give shoes away. They just immediately would just give them away, and they trusted that they'll find other shoes. Letting go of pain. Letting go of tension, letting go of stress, letting go of the last mistake you made. People in sports really know how to let go of the last mistake, the last wrong move, the move they didn't want. The play they didn't want, they let go of it and move immediately to a let's see what's going to happen attitude and letting go. There are things that look like holding on, but they're kind of letting go. Like a hug could, for some, I'm not saying everybody likes hugs, but a hug is holding on to someone, but it's actually letting go of self in a way. You're trying to let go and let this other person comfort you, or you are trying to give them some comfort. Tears is a good sign of letting go of control. And early Christians talked about the gift of tears, that letting go of composure, letting go of the facade of who I think I am. Now, this is another interesting letting go of the things that I do during the day that waste time, that do not serve me well, that never really work out well, letting go of relationships that don't really work well. And I'm not saying we do this at the drop of a hat, but sometimes we have to let go because it's just not working anymore. Letting go of stuff, letting go of all this extra stuff we don't really need would be a great idea. Letting go of extra work, that kind of relates. Like if you go through your day and look at things that you do, how much of it is really helping you and how much of it is part of the problem. So letting go of that stuff. And I will say that there's a tendency, at least in half the universe of people, they tend to hold on. It just, they're holding honors. They tend to hold on. Holders. The other people tend not to hold on too tightly, and they usually have other issues. But they experience joy and freedom of trying new things without overthinking things. Flexibility. Letting go of how you normally do things. We get set in patterns because patterns work. Why reinvent how you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Well, maybe doing it a different way might actually work better. So, in your prayer and meditation, maybe you practice letting go of things. There was a famous man who died a martyr's death. He was in Germany during the occupation, during Nazi times. Can't remember what he said. Oh, I can remember what he said. I wish I could give credit to him. Maybe it'll be added to this later. He said, faith is the beginning of letting go of control. And this is true. This is true. We begin to really trust when we're not in control. And I wonder how many of us stay in so much control with the illusion of control that we never really have let go. And I'm not trying to be chastising, but how many have we really ever let go to really have faith in someone or something major? Faith is trusting that all things will work out well. This fits in with positive thinking. Why not have faith that things will go well? It's kind of the opposite of worry, which is a strange kind of faith that things are not going to go well. It's this belief that something bad will happen. Yeah, we don't really need that in this world. Positive thought can do a lot of good. Well, I'm running out of words to say. I've let go of my words. It's funny, I may make this a shorter video. In fact, it might give me the ability to do something with my nose and see if I can't. I'm not going to try to control what's going on, but I'm going to try to do something so that I can feel better for my next client. If people do have questions, you're always welcome to list them out. But I also understand a lot of people come later to listen. So, I wish you well. I wish you the ability to be able to let go of things that do not matter. and to have a spiritual experience with God where you really begin to see His work in your life by letting go. This brings up a lot of people. I wonder if they really see God work. Well, I think that there's a spiritual principle that if you never really let go and let God, then you won't see it. It'll be all up to you to fight the coronavirus with science. I'm not saying science is bad, but if you have nothing else, I don't need any divine guidance. I got this. Or you're leading a country, or you're leading anything, leading a family. This white knuckling it is what AAers call it, is tiring. Yeah, and letting go and saying, I'm just going to practice this art of letting go and seeing what happens. I think that's a good thing. So anyway, I wish you well in your journey. Please pray for me as I'll be letting go and trusting God.